The hologram flickered to life in the center of the Earth Joint Military Command war room, casting a pale violet glow over the faces of the assembled leaders. A towering, armor-clad figure emerged, obsidian-skinned, six-eyed, and draped in ceremonial bone-plated regalia. High General HFY, Supreme Commander of the Yarkthul Expeditionary Fleet, stared down at humanity's remaining decision-makers like a bored executioner. "This message is delivered by authority of the Galactic Concord." His voice boomed, distorted by translation filters. "Your planet, rich in resources yet tragically unsophisticated, has been selected for protectorate assimilation." A pause. Then came the list. "You will deliver annually 1 million metric tons of purified water, 100,000 labor-class humans, and viable samples of genetic material from your species for replication analysis. Failure to comply will result in immediate orbital sterilization. You have 2 Earth cycles to respond." The hologram snapped off. Silence followed. Admiral Chandra stood first. "We stall them," she said. "Buy time. We're not ready for a full-scale offensive." "Agreed," murmured a German representative. "If we pretend to negotiate, that's not going to work." General Park's voice cut through the din. "They've already decided. This isn't diplomacy. It's tribute." The arguing resumed, voices overlapping. Maps blinked red across displays. Orbital scans, fleet positions, projections. Chaos wrapped in protocol. At the far end of the table, someone lit a cigarette. No one had seen him enter, but they all recognized him. Some by reputation, others by nightmares. Commander Mason Rourke. Codename Grim. The American Boogeyman. Scarred jaw, regulation black gear, sleeves rolled high enough to reveal a barcode tattoo to his forearm. A relic from a program no one acknowledged anymore. He exhaled smoke. Quietly. Then spoke. "Kill these idiots." The room froze. President Halvorsen leaned forward. "Commander Rourke, are you suggesting a preemptive strike?" "No," Mason said, standing. "I'm suggesting we remind them why the galaxy tells their children stories about us." He stepped into the center, flicked a data spike onto the main table. It activated instantly, displaying schematics of the Yarkthul flagship in orbit. "We infiltrate. Small team. Surgical strike," he continued. "No fleets. No speeches. We go inside and bleed them until they remember what fear feels like." "You want to attack the most heavily defended alien warship in orbit?" Parks asked, half in disbelief, half in awe. Mason met his gaze. "I want to turn their pride into their tomb." The president raised a hand. "Suppose we approve this. What's your objective?" Rourke tapped the hologram, zooming into the command tower. "HFY dies. Their systems collapse. And we let the rest of the Concord know Earth's not for sale." The table was silent again, but not with fear this time. Something colder. Calculation. Hope laced with violence. "Do it," Halvorsen said at last. "God help us." The prep zone was beneath Cheyenne Mountain. Old Cold War bunkers now held weapons designed to kill gods. Rourke opened the armory. 4 other operators stood waiting, ghosts like him. Off-record, off-world, off-grid. Juno, demolition. Quan, infiltration. Kessler, tech. Haddon, recon and cleanup. Not one had official records past 2125. All had scars. All had killed aliens before. "This isn't a rescue op," Mason said as they packed gear. "This is a message." Quan nodded. "Loud and ugly." They suited up in modular stealth rigs, each lined with layered carbon mesh weave and old-fashioned kinetic plates. No powered exosuits. No drone escorts. Too loud. Rourke packed light, a suppressed rail pistol, tactical blade, thermal grenades, and a photo of his daughter. Smiling. Teeth missing. Frozen at age 9. "Point of entry?" Kessler asked. "Outer hull maintenance shaft," Mason replied. "They won't be watching it. Their tech's perfect. That makes them blind." The team boarded the insertion shuttle, a battered suborbital delivery pod once used for mining equipment. The only thing advanced was the core, a gravity-dampened burn unit designed for silent drops. Inside the cramped pod, Juno strapped herself in. "What's the rules of engagement?" "No survivors if they see your face," Mason answered. No hesitation. Above them, the doors sealed. Countdown began. At 30 kilometers above Earth, the pod launched. It vanished into low orbit without a trace, masked by solar flare interference and Earth's own debris field. Inside, no one spoke. Breath synced with countdown lights. Then, release. The pod jettisoned a tiny black capsule. No signal. No propulsion trail. Just a silent, burning star falling toward the belly of the Yarkthul fleet. They struck the hull hard. Too fast for sensors. Too soft for impact alarms. Mason cut the outer seal with a torch blade, slid into the ventilation shaft first. One by one, the others followed. Inside was a world of alien angles. Metal like onyx, glowing veins of green plasma in the walls. Clean. Sterile. Too perfect. "Remember," Mason whispered over comms, "they expect humans to beg. Make them regret that." Hours later, Mason crouched behind a conduit as an alien patrol passed. They never even looked up. He moved silently behind one. Quick flash of steel. No scream. No blood spill. Just the quiet thud of something forgotten. He left behind a tiny patch stitched with the American flag. Frayed. Burned at the edges. Placed neatly on the corpse's chest. Back on Earth, the war room buzzed with updates. All satellite feeds showed the Yarkthul flagship undisturbed. But far below the hull, terror had already stepped aboard. Commander Rourke, Earth's monster, was inside. And he wasn't here to negotiate. The Yarkthul flagship, throne of obedience, drifted in low Earth orbit like a predator at rest, vast, angular, alive with bioelectric pulses that shimmered along its hull. Inside, the atmosphere was crisp, the lighting clinical. Everything smelled like sterilized arrogance. But in the sublevel maintenance corridors, something had already gone wrong. Mason crouched beneath a grating, watching a pair of aliens lumber past. Broad-shouldered, insected brutes, armed with ion lances. Their exosuits shimmered with energy fields. Impressive armor. Pointless if you slit the throat before they saw you. He waited. Counted 3 heartbeats. Slid out. One quick slice, trachea severed, 0 sound. The other turned, but not fast enough. A suppressed shot buried into its eye socket. The alien spasmed, collapsed. Mason dragged the bodies into a vent, arranging them with eerie precision. He placed a human military patch, stained and torn, on one chest. Another message. Another warning. In the command sanctum, General Exorquan's subordinates flicked through fleet metrics and planetary scans. "No resistance detected," one reported, voice dry, mandibles twitching. "Earth has not mobilized." "Of course they haven't," Exorquan replied. "They lack the will. They've been broken by time and entropy." Another commander chimed in. "However, there are anomalies in Deck 14. Minor oxygen fluctuations. A circuit rerouted. It could be a sensor glitch." Exorquan waved a claw dismissively. "Their kind barely walks upright. Let the technicians handle it." The general didn't fear humans. That was his first mistake. Kessler worked quickly, fingers flying over a hacked alien console. The lights in the corridor flickered once, then steadied. He smirked. "Comms are blind. No internal tracking in our quadrant now," he said. "Phase 2 starts," Mason confirmed. Quan and Juno nodded. Juno set 2 microcharges on structural struts. Not enough to breach the hull, but plenty to make aliens feel unsafe in their own ship. They split. Mason took the high corridor toward the central nervous hub. The others fanned out to plant chaos in every direction. It began with the lights. Deck 12 flickered into red strobing bursts, then went dark. Backup systems took too long. When power resumed, 3 engineers were missing. No blood. Just their helmets stacked neatly in the middle of the floor. Then came the sounds. An old human lullaby began playing in the command corridor. Tinny, warped, sung by a child's voice. Go to sleep, little soldier. An alien officer smashed the panel in panic. It kept playing from somewhere else. Fear moved faster than any virus. Exorquan summoned a full security team to sweep the decks. But the teams reported back nothing. No enemies. Just shadows. Symbols scratched into walls. Human numbers counting down. Whispered words heard through comms. We are already inside. A lieutenant approached the general. Shaking. Eyes wide. Sir, there's something on the lower decks. They're not attacking directly. They're haunting us. Exorquan snarled. Enough of this superstition. You think primitive apes can destabilize a Class V dreadnought? Find them. Kill them. Now. The lieutenant hesitated. They say the Boogeyman is real, he whispered. Exorquan grabbed him by the throat. And I say fear is for species who died badly. Be useful, or be next. Meanwhile, Mason watched it unfold on a stolen alien pad. He studied patrol patterns, alarm loops, communication breakdowns. Everything was falling apart, exactly as planned. He whispered into the comms. Proceed with pressure. Juno detonated the first charge. The lights surged. 2 corridors collapsed. Panic spread like fire. Quan spiked the environmental system. The air turned cold and damp. Fog rolled in, an illusion of storm. But to alien sensors, it meant failing life support. They started turning on each other next. One patrol shot another by mistake. Mason let the confusion spread, then moved again. He stalked through the lower barracks, unseen. A young alien officer stood at the end of the corridor, weapon raised. Identify yourself! It barked in panic. Now! Mason stepped forward slowly. No gun. Just a blade in hand, gleaming under flickering lights. I'm the thing your mother warned you about, he said. The alien froze. A second later it was dead. Exorquan stood alone in his private sanctum, watching the reports roll in, disappearing squads, offline systems, corridors filled with fog, music playing in languages they didn't program into the ship. He wasn't losing a battle. He was losing control. He slammed a clawed fist into the console. I want every soldier to lock down the command core. Seal the bulkheads. Let them come. But even as he said it, another report came through, a holo-recording intercepted from Deck 9. An alien officer sat bound to a chair, clearly terrified. Mason's shadow loomed behind him. Alien. What are you? Mason. Your extinction event. The recording cut to black. Exorquan's voice dropped to a whisper. Impossible. Elsewhere, Quan found a nest of technicians trying to hide. She watched them from the vents for a moment, then disabled their emergency distress beacon with a small EMP. We're in their heads, she whispered. Haddon, silent as ever, placed a flare beacon in the reactor chamber. As the aliens approached it, he vanished again, leaving only a streak of blood across the doorway and a single bullet lodged in the wall, a signature kill. The Boogeyman had come. But it wasn't just Mason. It was all of them. Every ghost Earth ever buried. Every mistake the galaxy made when they underestimated humanity. Hours later, the throne of obedience drifted without clear command structure. Its lights blinked like a wounded animal. Inside, troops refused to patrol alone. Whispered prayers passed between once proud officers. And Mason stood on the threshold of the command tower, staring upward. His blade was wet. His path was clear. Time to end this, he said. And he walked into the heart of the storm. The doors to the command sanctum opened with a hiss like a dying breath. Mason Rourke stepped through slowly, blade in one hand, rail pistol in the other, eyes fixed ahead. The corridor was vast, cathedral-like, carved from alien alloy and lit by the pulsating veins of the ship's nervous system. The lights dimmed, flickered. Power stuttered. The ship was sick, bleeding from within. At the end of the chamber stood High General Exorquan, alone. Towering. Rigid. Still dressed in ceremonial battle armor that glinted with unearned pride. Around him, the command crew was gone, dead, fled, or hiding. Rourke holstered the pistol. He didn't need it. You, Exorquan said, voice low now. You're the one. Rourke said nothing. You slaughtered my officers. Sabotaged my ship. Polluted it with madness. Still, Rourke stayed silent. His boots echoed against the alloy floor. No rush. No fear. Exorquan pulled a curved blade from his belt, a ceremonial war saber, forged from dark plasma steel. I am the victor of the Baltari's uprising, he said. I crushed the Drev insurgency in 6 days. I broke the sky fleets of Vorga 6 with a single order. Do you think a single human can defeat me? Rourke finally spoke. I'm not here to defeat you. He raised his knife. I'm here to end the myth. They closed the distance in a heartbeat. Exorquan swung wide, blade arcing through the air like lightning. Rourke ducked, rolled, came up behind him, sliced across the alien's lower back. Sparks. No hesitation. No wasted movement. The general howled and turned, swinging in rage. The blade missed by inches, cracked the wall. Rourke lunged in, slashed deep across the left forearm, tendons and muscle peeled back. The alien stumbled. You fight like a ghost, Exorquan hissed. You're no warrior. You're a phantom with knives. I'm whatever your kind fears in the dark, Rourke answered, driving his shoulder into the alien's chest. They crashed into a command console. Glass shattered. Sparks flew. Exorquan roared, slammed a claw into Rourke's ribs, bone cracked. The human dropped to one knee. Blood in his mouth. You bleed, the alien spat. Rourke smiled, eyes wild. So do you. He surged upward, knife punching into Exorquan's side, deep, brutal. Then again and again. Not clean. Not elegant. Just damage. Exorquan grabbed him by the throat, lifted him clear off the ground. Rourke choked, kicking, stabbing. The blade lodged in the alien's chest but didn't drop him. Your world will burn, Exorquan snarled. Rourke gasped, forcing out the words. Not today. With his free hand, he drew a backup pistol from his boot, jammed it into the alien's jaw, and fired. The head snapped back. The grip loosened. Rourke dropped to the floor hard, rolled, grabbed the fallen saber, and rose in one swift motion. Exorquan staggered. Still alive. Barely. Knees buckling. You lost, Mason said. Not because I'm stronger. But because I came here to kill you. You came here to conquer me. He stepped forward, reversed the saber, and drove it straight through the alien's chest. The general collapsed. One twitch. Then still. Mason stood over the body, breathing ragged. Blood slicked the floor, human red and alien blue mingling like oil and water. He tapped his comm. Kessler. Commands clear. Target eliminated. There was a pause. Then, copy that. Ship's core is stable. Alien chatter's gone quiet. Time to go, Mason said. Leave them the wreckage. 30 minutes later, the human team gathered at the extraction point. The chaos they'd sown was complete, lights failing, hull integrity compromised, crew in disarray. The throne of obedience would limp back to orbit, humiliated, leaderless. Before boarding the evac pod, Rourke uploaded a final message to the Galactic Concord's priority channel. A single image, Exorquan's body. And beneath it, one line of text. Tribute declined. Back on Earth, the war room received the message in silence. The projection hovered over the table, displaying Exorquan's corpse like a trophy. No speech followed. No cheers. Just a grim understanding, they had survived. Not through diplomacy. Through terror. President Halvorsen leaned back in his chair. They'll remember this. They already are, General Parks said quietly. 3 solar cycles later, Yarkthal diplomats issued a formal statement. The Protectorate Initiative, regarding Earth, had been suspended indefinitely, pending reassessment. Unofficial reports spoke of internal rebellions, collapsed morale, and whispered stories of a human wraith who carved through their mightiest warship with only steel and fury. Alien civilizations began referencing a new warning in their old tongues. Do not provoke the world of the Boogeyman. Mason Rourke returned to Earth without fanfare. No medal. No parade. He walked off the transport ship, bandaged and limping, and vanished into the folds of classified silence. Some say he retired. Others claim he waits in the shadows, ready to be called again. But across the stars, wherever arrogance grows and tribute is demanded, a new legend travels in hushed voices, spoken not by human children, but alien ones. Sleep, or the human will come.